So today we're in Giethoorn, which is in the Netherlands.
In the province of Overijssel.
Giethoorn directly translates into goat horn, which is a real unique name for a town. And it's a very unique town or village. It's a village that's much like Venice was, but in a much smaller scale and a much less developed scale.
Or what we would actually imagine Venice to have been in its early years.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. And what you'll see is you'll see these little islands, and a lot of times these islands will have, you know, maybe one house or two or three houses on these little islands. And then there's canals, and these bridges connect these islands together.
Wooden bridges. They're very narrow. One or two people walking together could go over, but not much more than that.
Yeah, not like the brick or stone bridges in Venice. But it's a very very small rural place with a lot of land and marshland around.
Farmland too. I've seen livestock and
lots of
farm
livestock,
animals.
Lots of geese. We saw obviously some goats, some sheep. We saw a lot of different things there. But it's a real unique place, and it's very popular, especially amongst a lot of the Asian tourists. We saw a lot of Asian tourists there, and we actually saw some of the menu boards.
Translated into what I've read was Mandarin Chinese.
So it's a real unique place. It's definitely worth seeing. Now, if you're from the U.S., I'd probably say this is not worth seeing because it's a little out of the ways. You can't really get here easily with public transportation. And there's other places I'd recommend, you know, people see. I definitely recommend people see Zandvoort in Amsterdam and maybe Delft. And this is definitely out of the way to visit. But if you're here and you're living in Europe, let's say you live in the Netherlands or you live in Germany or in Belgium or anywhere around here, and you're in this area of the country, I'd highly recommend swinging by.
It's an interesting place to see.
It definitely is. And if the weather's nice and it's a nice, beautiful day, this is a good place to visit.
And just the style of architecture was different. Quite a few of the houses have thatched roof. It's not something you see typically across the country.
Well, what's interesting is there was actually one house being repaired.
It was.
And they're actually removing the old thatch work, and they had the old spent material on a barge. And then they had the new material also on that barge. And you could see, you know, for construction purposes, they still use boats.
Well, they rely on water.
To get their heavier construction material around. Now, most of the time now, it seems like the boats are mainly used for the tourists. And, you know, you can rent a boat, you can rent an electric boat.
Or a kayak,
or or even if you didn't want to do that, you could ride a boat.
A canoe as well.
A canoe. But you could also ride boats as well. There's actually tour boats that go around. So that's definitely an interesting way to ride and get around the town. But it's a real nice place to visit, and we'd definitely recommend people swing by.
But you've also went to another community nearby, Dwarsgracht, 3 kilometers away.
It's very similar. The only difference is it's not as many tourists there. It's more set up on bike paths. So there's a bike path kind of coming in and out of it, where people were actually saw them fly right over that bridge. And the bridges don't necessarily go to individual houses like they go in Giethoorn. They actually just cross over the canals. So if you can imagine, this would more be like the streets instead of being paved roads. There would be the canals. And you'd have houses on both sides of those canals with their own sidewalks walking through. So that's the little bit difference. But the rest of it's somewhat similar, except it's smaller and not as tourist.
Okay.
But anyway, that's it for today.
Thanks for joining us.
And don't forget to subscribe and like us on YouTube.